the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture in their demonstration garden, and joining me today is Micah Anderson, the Marketing Development Coordinator, and also the man responsible for planting the demonstration garden. Micah, we've got some sweet potatoes that you have planted here. Can you tell me about the process that you went through?
Well, we made a raised bed with our little tractor and made the raised bed, and then we laid down irrigation tape and just drip irrigation. We put 2 lines in because we made a fairly wide bed, and then we overlaid the bed with plastic. And there's different widths of these plastics. This one is we used a 5 foot because we needed a wider bed, and we rolled it out and shoveled the dirt out by hand.
Okay. And this is fairly thin plastic, so it molds nicely to the raised bed that you've created. How did you decide, how did you actually go about planting the sweet potatoes in there? Well, you used a pretty nifty tool there.
Well, we used a little paint stick that, because I'm an old body technician that paint cars or whatever, but we just made the hole that way. That's the way it makes a smaller hole. But you use a stick to kind of punch it in and loosen the dirt up, and then you take it and push the root down into the soil and then press the soil against it. That way you got a very minimum hole, and the plastic is there. It's gonna give you the weed control. The bigger the hole, then more weeds that you got a chance of coming in there. The smaller the hole, less weeds. So we want to make the hole as small as we can, so that's what we did. And
then you also use that measuring stick, or that paint stick, as a measuring stick as well.
Yeah, because it's just about the right size. It's about 1 foot long, and so it gives us a good spacing. You plant sweet potatoes, you can plant them 1 foot apart, you can plant them 1.5 foot, according to how thick you want, how big you want them to get, and how long you're going to leave them in the ground.
And why did you choose to plant sweet potatoes in plastic?
Well, because they're tropical and they lack a lot of heat, and this black plastic really warmed the soil up. And this is a year that I've never seen it being this cool. But with the black plastic, they won't suffer nearly as much. They'll start growing a lot faster, because with the black plastic, it's like getting in a black car, and the sun hits it and it really warms it up, and it'll warm this soil up and bring the temperature up really fast.
Right. Okay.
And so they'll take off.
Okay. And you've got several different crops that you're growing in here, and so explain a little bit, how would you water each bed differently?
Yeah, most of this stuff here we water close to the same. We got the sweet potatoes here, peppers, tomatoes, corn, Irish potatoes, and then lettuce and kale, cabbage and kale. But now if I had okra out here, I would definitely water it different. I would shut the water off and not water nearly as much as I would this other stuff.
But all of this is on one zone, and you've got ball valves on the end of each zone, so you could water each row differently if need be.
And I'm probably going to shut those rows off over there and water this by itself, because it's not been watered yet.
Right, it's
to get it soaked.
Okay, so Micah, we're at the end of our line here, and a lot of times you'll see where you can buy closed caps to end the irrigation line. You've got a simple tip for us right here.
Well, we just tie a knot in the end of it, and usually I tie a double knot. But if you tie a knot here, and it will stop the water, and you'll still get a little leak at the end. But what's nice about that is when I turn the water on, I can come down here and see the water dripping. Mm-hmm. And if I see water dripping at the end, then I know water's coming all the way through my line. But if it's not, then I may have a leak somewhere.
Excellent. And one last thing, you're adding fertilizer as a water-soluble fertilizer, because there's no way to get it into the soil right now other than through the water.
Right, and it just and we added some amendments to begin with, and we had the soil tested, and we run a little high pH here, but we put a little sulfur down at the beginning of the season. But as time goes along, every week we'll add a little fertilizer, and it seems to keep the plants lively and growing really well.
Excellent. Thank you, Micah, for joining us today.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.